welcome to today's video. Today we're gonna do a whole face of makeup with 6 makeup products. I recently saw Emily Noel post a similar video where she had 5 newer products to her and she was testing them out, and she did a whole face of makeup with 5 items. I don't have new makeup, so it's not like a new twist spin. Also, she had a lot of, or a couple different pieces of makeup that were like multi-purpose. Like she had a face palette and then she had a concealer palette that had, or I think it was a concealer palette that had a powder in it. I don't have any of that. And when I was watching the video, I was thinking to myself, can I even do that video? Like, could I even do that? And I got to digging through my collection and I had to add one more since I don't have I don't have a lot of face palettes to choose from right now. So I managed to narrow it down to 6 items, and today I thought I would do a full face using 6 items, which I don't think is bad considering that I don't have any face palettes here. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so as we get started, like I said, I only have 6 items. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is concealer, and I'm going to go ahead and spot conceal any area on my face that needs it, but also I always need a ton of color correction in my like under eye area. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now because Lord knows that I need it. And while I'm kind of dotting this on, like anywhere that I have like a lot of discoloration, like I have some sunspots and stuff, I'll do just a couple little taps here and there, maybe a little bit just on the center of my face just to kind of brighten it up. I do like to go, my nose is super narrow, so I try to do a little bit of concealer on the sides of my nose just so that it doesn't look even more. I don't like to contour my nose because it's already so narrow that I think it makes it look even longer, which doesn't really help me out. So sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I might add a little bit more concealer than this to my under eye, but it just depends on how it all blends out that day. So let's just see. So I'm using Tarte Shape Tape, and I have to admit, like, I know that a lot of people think it's overrated, and I get that some people's preferences just aren't they don't need full coverage concealers, but for me, I really enjoy Tarte Shape Tape. I keep calling it Shart. But I really enjoy Tarte Shape Tape because to me, I need something really high coverage. It is a little bit, if I cake on like too much, then it'll get drying and it'll look dry on my under eye. But as long as I keep it like relatively uncaked, it doesn't look too drying on me. Plus I always blend mine out with a sponge, which helps the dryness factor, and I don't have issues with it looking too dry typically, even though in the winter here, especially in Sweden, I usually do struggle with pretty dry skin at times. But like I said, for some reason it really still works with me, and I think it's because I carefully apply it pretty well. I also forgot that I like to put some up on my lid area too, because I am going to be putting some eyeshadow on later today, or later in the video. So I do go ahead and put just a little bit on my lids because they're not like perfect even canvases, so I like to try to do that. And then again, make sure that my nose is covered. So as you can see, it's definitely not full coverage. My skin is going to peek through under a look like this. But the next thing I always tend to use when I'm trying to narrow down the number of products that I'm going to use, I will tend to reach for a powder foundation over like a liquid foundation. So today I'm going to use my Bare Minerals. This is a giant one. It was like one of the holiday packs they always put out, and I got it on sale last year at the end of Christmas time. And yeah, so I'm just going to use this and dust it all over my face. I'm someone who, even though I struggle with dry skin, I still get really oily also. So if I don't set my face, then I will absolutely lose most of the makeup that I wear in a day, even in a matter of hours. So this kind of powder step is actually necessary for me. I really need it. And you all know I think it's like tap, buff, swirl. That's what I'm doing. Just trying to coat my brush pretty evenly, and then I'll start on my forehead and work my way around my face. And you probably won't be able to tell on camera, but I did kind of put a little bit more on my cheeks just because I didn't put a lot of concealer on my cheeks. So I was trying to make sure that I have a little bit of coverage on my cheeks, since I do have like some sun discoloration and kind of stuff there. But I think that looks pretty good. My nose is kind of always just deals with looking shiny, and like not foundation and concealer even sometimes struggles to stick to my nose, but for the most part I think that's as good as I'm gonna get it. So I'm gonna move on to the next step. Okay, and before I go and do bronzer on my face, I have decided that I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyeshadow. So I'm gonna use my Lorac Pro 3 palette. This is kind of like my everyday go-to palette just because it's super neutral, easy to wear. The shades in them are soft, and so when you apply them on your lid, it doesn't look like It doesn't look very intense. The shadows aren't very high impact, but they blend out really well, and I like that soft look on a couple of days. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw, I think, Cool Taupe in my crease. I think I'll also use some of that shade in the front of my brows. I'll use dark brown on the outside of my brows. And so yeah, I'm just gonna kind of go do my brows and eyeshadow with this palette. We'll see. I might end up throwing a little bit of clay in my crease too. Maybe kind of mix clay and Cool Taupe and just kind of go from there. So yeah, I ended up using Cool Taupe and clay in my crease, and I really like it. I'm gonna deepen it up just a tad in my crease, but honestly, they blend so easily and so nicely. They are really, the mattes are very pigmented. It's the shimmers that are more soft in this palette. So I'm gonna take one of the Cool Tone little like shimmers and kind of just place it on my lid with my finger, and then I think I'm gonna mix Almond Pearl and just a touch of light gold as a highlight, and then I'll go in with my bronzer too, but I also still need to do my brows still. So I zoomed you in just a tad, and hopefully you can see that this kind of, it's called Rose Bronze shade. It's really just super natural looking shade. I went on my lid with that, and I'm gonna go in kind of towards the inner corner with a shade called Light Pewter. So this is the Rose Bronze shade, and then this here is the Light Pewter shade. I'm just gonna put that kind of towards my inner corner just a little bit. My nails are almost getting to the point where they're too long to like start using them to place eyeshadow on my eyes. I think I need to do something about that. I'm not used to, normally I break my nails way before this point, so I'm not used to having nails this long, but I'm just gonna kind of make sure I blend that out some. See how natural that looks? Like it almost looks like you barely put on any makeup. I kind of like that some days, especially when I'm wearing something like this loud. This is kind of like the perfect look for that. So then again, I'm gonna take some brow product. Now I gotta go in light. When you use eyeshadows this pigmented, I kind of have to remember to go in light because I'm someone who kind of always struggles to sometimes I easily overdo it for my eyebrows. So I have to remember to work slow, and this is working really well in my brows. And for my outer like brow area, I kind of mixed that Cool Tone Taupe shade and then dark brown because my brows need to be a little darker on the outside. I don't have my hair, I still have lots of like hair on the outside of my brows, but for whatever reason they are like darker in the front, and then they just kind of like lose and turn more blonde on the outside of my eye, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know why that happens. So yeah, I'm ending up mixing Cool Taupe and brown for like my brows, mostly on the like outer portion. Okay, now I'm adding some bronzer to my forehead and cheek area because I need that. I always look a little flat without bronzer, but I'm using a Lorac like Baked bronzer. I think it's like the Tantalizer bronzer, and I have to say that it's a little bit warm for my liking, but I was just told myself, you know what, you put it in your shopper stash, you might as well just use it until the end of the month, and then I'll trade it out. So that's really the only reason why I'm picking this bronzer to use it. But it's probably getting a little too warm for me now that I've lost a lot of my tan, so I need to switch it out soon. Okay, now for some highlight. I'm already a little bit dewy because the Bare Minerals foundation powder has a little bit of luminosity to it unless you buy the matte version. Honestly, I think I prefer the matte version over the like luminous version, but I have a giant one of the luminous ones, so I have to use it first. But I'm gonna go ahead and mix a little bit, mostly Almond Pearl and just a touch of light gold for a highlight. Again, these are kind of powdery, so I'm trying to remember to go in with a light hand and make sure that I don't over apply this a little bit too much. So I'm gonna try, yeah, I think that's fine. Not sure how much it's coming across on camera, but in person I can definitely see it, and it doesn't seem like it's too much. So just a recap so far, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the last 2 items are 5 and my mascara. It makes 6. So the next product I'm gonna use is my Milk Makeup Lip and Cheek like product in the shade Work. This was the Sephora birthday gift for me this year, and I have not actually tried it on my lips yet, so we'll be doing that together today, and I actually am excited to see if I like it on my lips. I know I love it on my like cheeks, but first I'll go ahead and put it on my lips. Okay, so that is it as a lip product. I actually really kind of like it, although it does feel a little thick on my lips. I don't know if I love the feeling of it. Okay, so I really like this as a blush, and what I like to do is just put it on load it up on my little sponge here. This is like a Real Technique sponge, and then I like to start it back here at the back of my cheek and kind of work it forward just a little bit And I think it gives like, it's actually like, it looks like it would be really dark in like the packaging, but I think that it looks really like nice, natural, and pretty on my cheeks, and it actually builds up pretty well. So I really, really, really have been enjoying this as a blush. I really, really like it. Okay, and my last product here is my Better Than Sex mascara. I'm actually really close to being done with this. I'm having to build it up quite a bit nowadays because it is getting on the dry side. I've been using it almost all this year, so it's almost done. Okay, I went ahead and spared you the facial contortion that comes with applying mascara, but this is the finished look. I actually was surprised that I got it done in 6 products. Maybe not my, you know, something I would do every day, but if I'm really struggling for time and trying to get out the door, this is so quick and easy. And again, I think the secret for me at least is high coverage concealer, powder foundation, and then kind of just at least wear bronzer. I probably could even skip like lipstick, but if my lipstick is one that can be worn up on my cheeks too, I will constantly do that. Not just with a product like this, but like almost with any lipstick that I really like, I would easily pull it out and use it on my face as blush too. And then you top it with some mascara and you're done. So it's that easy and simple. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure you say hello in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.